welcome back to another episode of the Real Health Podcast. It is Thanksgiving week. You're hearing this probably on Friday, so the Friday after Thanksgiving, maybe the week after. But gosh, we just had Thanksgiving, so I was thinking about it this week. Talked to my family about it on Sunday, and just talked about how hyper blessed we are. And we just look around and just think about, even just personally, where I think about where I came from. Most people don't know, that I didn't come from a healthy family, healthy background. There's a lot of addiction in my family. First year college, almost dropping out, flunking out because not going to school. Dealt with my own addictions and demons. Never knew Christ, and just coming from that, and where I'm at today, like everything in my life that is good. If someone were to just not know me and just look around and just say, "Hey, wow, there's so much good happening in his life," all of it is because of the grace of Jesus. And I'm just so thankful. I'm so thankful to live the life that I live. It is such a beautiful life. I'm so hyper blessed. It's the brain. In the brain, it's almost impossible. Research shows to be anxious and grateful at the same time. Anxious and thankful. Fearful and thankful. When you have a heart of thankfulness and gratitude, and you just start speaking how blessed you are, how grateful you are for the people in your life, for the things that you have, for the food on your table, and how thankful you are for the just forgiveness of sin and grace and the love of God, to experience that, not through religion, but through relationship, just be exposed to that is such a beautiful thing. It's just rest for the soul. And so in this post-Thanksgiving week, my prayer for you is, I pray that you have a heart of gratefulness and thankfulness. You will become what you focus on. You will become what you're intentional, when you're intentionally thinking about, what you're processing, what you're seeing. And so see the good in people, see the blessings of those around you, see the blessings in your own life, and speak those out as we rewire our brain and start having a brain or a heart or a soul of thankfulness and gratefulness. So today's episode was a little bit of encouragement in that area, but it was also going to be, we talked about morning routine on the last podcast, and I really wanted to give you something that we've mentioned in previous podcasts, but really expound upon it today. I think if you were to add this to your morning routine, it would be transformational in how productive you are. We all know, based on, if you want to go back and listen to the caffeine podcast, we all know how caffeine is really a smart drug for the brain. It's the most addictive substance that's consumed on our planet. But today we're going to talk about a source of energy from a plant in South America that I've been drinking for over 20 years. And this plant, this herb, can be transformational for your health. And I'll tell you the plant in just a second, but here's some studies. So the first study shows the polyphenol, or the antioxidant value of this plant, is greater than that of green tea. Now, green tea is already kind of the staple, like the standard of green tea or antioxidant status when it comes to plants. All right, so it has a ton of what's called catechins in it that are antioxidants, polyphenols that fight cancer, they're anti-cancer, they're anti-cardio disease, so they're cardioprotective. They're anti-Alzheimer's dementia, so they're neuroprotective. These are the things that we use in terms of the words we use to describe the benefits of these antioxidants. So this is actually greater than green tea. And if you know anything about me, I have a passion for food and for experience, and so I love a great cup of coffee. I love a beautiful, well-made, steeped pot of Gyokuro Japanese green tea. I love a silver needle white tea. I love all of these different teas and plants. But this plant has higher antioxidant value than green tea. There was a study that showed that this plant, when consumed before workout, had a 24% increase in fatty acid oxidation, which means you literally burn 24% more fat than someone who didn't consume this plant before working out. There was another study that showed, it's a 90-day study looking at what's called hemoglobin A1C. And hemoglobin A1C is an average measurement of blood sugar over the course of 90 days. When they looked at this blood sugar over the course of 90 days, they saw was that that in 90 days, those who consumed this beverage, 11 ounces of it, so consume this plant in a liquid form, 11 ounces of it, 1 to 3 times a day, had lower blood fasting glucose levels and had a reduction in their hemoglobin A1C. So just by consuming this plant alone, the subjects had lower blood sugar levels. So we get better fatty acid oxidation, so we burn fat. We get better blood sugar stability. Okay, this is massive for chronic disease prevention. We get even other benefits of antioxidants that are anti-cancer, cardioprotective, neuroprotective. So what are some other compounds found in this particular plant? Okay, because already you're probably like, whoa, what are we talking about here? Okay, this plant sounds amazing. So caffeine is in it. So about 1 to 2% is compounds within this plant is caffeine, right? So that would be a stimulant to the nervous system. There's also something called a theobromine. Theobromine is another type of like stimulant. It's about 0.9, about 1% of content within this particular plant. Theobromine, caffeine, and theophylline is the other one. Theophylline is actually it's very like cardio and lung protective. Theophyline's been used. It's a stimulant, but it's also been used to treat asthma and respiratory issues. So it's a bronchodilator, helps you breathe better. So theophylline is really cool. So these three things, caffeine, theobromine, and theophylline, those three xanthines, those three particular plant compounds are a powerhouse of natural stimulation. And they all have different half-lives. So when you drink this beverage, you don't get the typical just pure caffeine like you would in coffee, like a caffeine spike and then a drop. The half-life is a little longer for theobromine and theophylline, that where you get a longer, like natural focus energy stimulation, which is really nice because if you consume it the way it's traditionally consumed over the course of 3 hours, you get a really nice mental focus and clarity. That's why it's one of my favorite components to it. This plant has a ton of polyphenols or antioxidants like flavonoids, like quercetin, like rutin. These are plant polyphenols that are great for histamine levels, immune system regulation, and antioxidant that reduce your risk of disease. There are certain, what we call them saponins, that are used in the body. They're used to reduce inflammation. So this plant actually reduces inflammation and cholesterol. And then it's packed full of micronutrients. So this plant has the vitamin A, B1, B2, B3, B5, vitamin C, and vitamin E. It's loaded in calcium, iron, magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, potassium, selenium, zinc. And so you have all of these even natural trace minerals found within this plant. And then it even has 15 different amino acids in it that, again, amino acids are essential for neurological production and helping serotonin, dopamine levels, norepinephrine, cortisol. So it's like, gosh, everyone should be drinking this plant. I mean, when you look at the research and then you actually feel the effects of the plant, it's no wonder why it's one of the most consumed beverages in other countries, but it's not consumed much in the States. It's mainly because it's just not part of our culture. As I take a sip here, we are consuming it in large amounts in other countries, but in our country, we're predominantly going to be consuming coffee as our main kind of stimulant-based tea. So what is it? We're talking about yerba mate. Again, if you know anything about me, I've mentioned it in the past. You may even see me walking around the office in a gourd. But yerba mate is a powerhouse plant that if you're looking to kind of break a coffee addiction or you don't feel great off coffee, you should look at yerba mate. Yerba mate should not really be consumed in a can. It should be consumed in a whole leaf form out of something called a gourd with a metal straw called a bombilla. And when you consume it in the traditional way and you pour a little hot water on it and you sip it, you pour a little hot water on it, you sip it, and you sip it over the course of 2-3 hours. This is a great, if you work at like an office and you're just trying to be productive for 2-3 hours and really focused and have focused energy, or you're on a road trip, you just want that like constant focused energy. This is a great beverage to consume. You can steep it and have some benefit there as well, like in a traditional tea type steep. Or you can even put it in an espresso machine like I have. I put it in my espresso machine and actually make a quote unquote shot out of it and even make yerba mate lattes, which is another way you can consume it. There's a lot of different ways to consume it. But when you start consuming this, it would be very difficult for you to not consume it again. It is that powerful and potent in terms of its effects. There are different companies, when you look at how it's made and how it's produced, you're looking for a lighter roasted. So we don't want dark brown roasted. We want a light roast or a green-based yerba mate. It has a higher antioxidant value, and it's not as strong in flavor. It is very earthy, so when you do consume it, it's got a very kind of sticks and leaves type vibe. But it's an acquired taste, so over time you get used to that, and the benefit of it completely would outweigh any of the negative, like palatative, sensation. So consider it. Consider it part of your morning routine, your afternoon routine. Consider it part of your daily routine when you look at really creating a beautiful like energy spike, metabolic fix. I mean, it's deep-rooted healing. It's fixing blood sugar. It's regulating fatty acid oxidation. It's helping the brain. It's helping the heart. It's helping the airways. So there's so many beautiful benefits. You're getting tons of minerals and antioxidants. It is a healing beverage for sure. Next time you're in the store, go to the tea section. Check out that loose leaf, big pound of yerba mate. Get a gourd, get a bombilla, and give it a go. It's meant to be enjoyed in communities. It's meant to be enjoyed with other people. But for me, it's definitely part of a stapled morning routine. So hey, give it a shot. Let me know what you think. And as always, if you find like this information is being valuable, share it with your friends, share it with your family. We're so appreciative of your support. The tens of thousands of downloads we get is just incredible. It just shows that you want the information, and we're here to give it to you. Thanks again for listening to another episode of the Real Health Podcast.